Have you ever looked at someone driving a car that costs more than your annual salary and thought, how? You know they aren't a CEO. You know they aren't a trust fund kid. In fact, you know they work a standard 9 to 5, or maybe they're a student, or maybe they don't seem to have a traditional job at all. The math doesn't add up. In the modern world, we're taught that there are only 3 ways to drive a nice car. You're rich, you're in massive debt, or you're renting it for the weekend to flex on Instagram. But what if I told you there's a 4th group, a group of invisible engineers who have figured out how to own the status, the speed, and the leather-stitched interior of a 6-figure car without a single bank loan or a Hertz rental agreement? Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the shadow car economy. We're ignoring the lease-to-broke lifestyle and the predatory 9% APR loans. Instead, we're looking at how the cleverest, and often the brokest, people use depreciation hacking, title arbitrage, and the DIY tax to drive like kings on a pauper's budget. Welcome to the secret world of how broke people actually afford nice cars. The first secret is understanding that luxury is a decaying asset. To a billionaire, a car is a toy. To a middle-class person, it's a status symbol. But to the shadow owner, a car is a math problem. Take the Mercedes Best Class. Brand new, it's $120,000. It is the pinnacle of engineering. But here is the secret. The person who buys it new is paying for the smell and the warranty. The moment that car hits 60,000 miles and the factory warranty expires, the wealthy owner panics. They don't want to pay $3,000 for a leaking air suspension, so they dump it. This is where the broke pro strikes. They aren't looking at the 2024 model, they're looking at the 2014 model. To the average person on the street, a clean, black 2014 S-Class still looks like it belongs to a high-ranking diplomat. It has the presence, it has the badge. But because of the depreciation cliff, that $120,000 car is now sitting on a used car lot for $14,000. That is less than the price of a base model Mitsubishi Mirage. The broke pro saves $14,000 in cash. Maybe they worked 2 jobs for a year. Maybe they sold their old Honda, and they buy it outright. No debt, no monthly payments. They are now driving the most comfortable car in the world for the same price as a used fridge on wheels. But there's a catch, isn't there? The maintenance. And that leads us to our next secret. If you take a 10-year-old BMW to a dealership, they will rob you. They charge $250 an hour for labor. They mark up parts by 400%. This is why regular broke people stay away from luxury cars, the maintenance fear. But the new generation of car owners has a superpower: information. In the 1990s, if your Jaguar broke, you were at the mercy of the specialist. Today, every single bolt, sensor, and circuit board on a luxury car has a 20-minute 4K resolution tutorial on YouTube. The shadow owner doesn't have a $5,000 emergency fund for repairs. They have a $200 toolkit from Harbor Freight and a dedicated Saturday. They buy the broken luxury car, the one the previous owner gave up on because the shop quoted $4,000 to fix a mysterious engine light. The shadow owner spends 3 hours off for him, realizes it's just a $40 vacuum leak, fixes it in their driveway, and suddenly they own a perfect car. They're trading their time for equity. In the car world, sweat equity is the only way to bypass the luxury tax. If you're willing to get your hands dirty, the cost of owning a Porsche drops by 80%. Now, let's talk about the scarred cars, salvage and rebuilt titles. In the eyes of an insurance company, a car is totaled if the repair cost exceeds a certain percentage of its value. For a high-end car, a minor fender bender that pops the airbags can total the car, not because the frame is bent, but because airbags and sensors are incredibly expensive to replace at a dealership. The shadow owner goes to auctions like Copart or IAAI. They find a totaled Tesla or Lexus that has cosmetic damage. They buy it for 30 cents on the dollar. They don't go to a fancy body shop. They find a local paint guy. They source used parts from eBay and they rebuild the car. Yes, the title says rebuilt. Yes, it's harder to sell later. But remember, their goal isn't to make an investment. Their goal is to drive a nice car for $0 per month. By buying a scarred car for cash, they avoid the $800 a month that is currently strangling the middle class. They own the asset, even if it's only 60% of a clean version. 60% of a Ferrari is still a Ferrari. What if the car paid for its own existence? This is where the broke label starts to blur into business-minded. There's a growing group of people who buy a luxury SUV, specifically ones over 6,000 pounds, like a Cadillac Escalade or G-Wagon, and use a legal loophole called Section 179. If they have even a small side business, maybe they do freelance photography or consulting, they can often write off the entire purchase price of the vehicle against their taxes in year one. They aren't spending money on a car. They're reducing their tax bill to the government. It's a 30% discount funded by the IRS. And then there's the platform subsidy. They buy the car, but they only drive it Tuesday through Thursday. Friday through Monday, the car is listed on Turo. In many cities, 4 days of luxury rental on Turo can cover the entire cost of the car's insurance, gas, and maintenance for the month. They aren't renting a car. They're hosting a car. They become a micro fleet owner. To the world, they drive an $80,000 Range Rover. In reality, the tourists visiting their city are the ones paying the bill. So how do broke people afford nice cars? They stop looking at cars as transportation and start looking at them as systems. They exploit the fact that the rich are impatient, buying when the rich sell. They exploit the fact that the average person is lazy, fixing what the average person won't. And they exploit the fact that the tax code is written for owners, not employees. It's not about having a high income. It's about having a low ego. The person in debt is trying to look rich to their neighbors. The shadow owner is trying to live rich for themselves. They don't care about the salvage title. They don't care that the car's 10 years old. They care about the experience of the drive. In a world that wants to lease your life on a subscription, owning your status outright is the ultimate rebellion. So next time you see that broke person in a beautiful car, don't ask where they got the money. Ask what they know that you don't. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.